Hello and welcome to today's session. In today's session, we would be talking about how do we create a chatbot using OpenAI and LangChain. So, in how do we create a chatbot on general public data, and how do we create a chatbot using custom data? Create a chatbot using custom data. So we can provide the CSV or an Excel sheet to the chatbot where when we ask a certain question, it should be able to fetch us the details from that particular Excel sheet itself. So this is the application which we will be developing in this particular session. Now let's also see how do we, what exactly the screen looks like on the user interface aspect of it. Let me just take this, copy, and give you the user interface in the same window. So basically, we would be having something, say, we would be having something like this on the left pane where you would be having an option to upload a CSV file so that we ask certain queries to the chatbot from the same custom file. So this is an option. And the other one being, we would be providing a window, main window, where you'll be having two different tabs. So tab number one would be talking about how do we create it on public data. And there would be another tab, tab number two, which is talking about custom. So these tabs will be on, we would be creating this using using something on Streamlit on Python. That's what we would be using to this particular interface. So let's get started for that. Right. So first thing first, we need to create a virtual environment to avoid the conflicts between the library versions. So that is the first step. And second step is there is a certain command which we need to provide to link the OpenAI key. Basically, we need to enter something like echo. Then we have code OpenAI, and we would be providing the key here and this. So whatever key here, and then we would also give so this is something we will have to run through the terminal in. So this is the command so that we do not have to provide this in the window directly. This is the command first. So to get the OpenAI key, we need to log into the OpenAI, and there is a payment option which where we fill the credit card details, and that's when you get that OpenAI key. There is an option of generating OpenAI key without the payment option, but it does not get through. So we have to give the credit card and it get that API. So this is the first step. I'm going to give this command in the section of this video. Going to delete this one, and then we need to get started with something. So first thing is we will be getting this application in Streamlit. So I'm importing the Streamlit as ST. And there are a couple of modules from Streamlit which so I'm going to do chat. So this is something we will be using to get the messages and display the same in our Streamlit application. And then from LangChain, so this is something we would be using to understand the language and embeddings. There are certain other things as well, other modules from a LangChain. So I would select chain dot chat is port chat OpenAI, the one, and from LangChain dot chains port conversational chain. So this is something which we will get so that your conversations are taken care using. Then we will LangChain dot document loaders dot CSV loader and use this is something we will be using to load the CSV, the left side pane which I had shown you in this one, this section. CSV loader. Then we would also use chain dot source, and then we would have import temp file, and then we have certain other uh, libraries as well, which is import I, then import base 64, so that our file encoding is taken to this. Then I would also import from IL import image. So this is where we would be using the background image for the Streamlit application, just to give get little more custom features or make it a little more beautiful thing. We would start with the page background basically, so then we would come to the other area. First, let's get started with the page background. I would say, since if we give this section names, it would be easier for us to go through when there is an error. So, background, we would create, define, add background local, where I would give the image file with open file as file. I would also say encoded string base 4 dot 4 encode file dot. Then let's go one step back, and let me give the title to this particular chatbot. This can be anything. Giving person chatbot for public custom data. This would be the title of our application. Then let me say st, though, sorry, it would be in lowercase, t dot markdown file, then app back page. Have to URL here. JPG file in my case. Then let's say base 4 goes. Then let me also give background is color. This area is done. So close. Save. Now HTML to true. This is something and this is where our background is done. This is the function which. Now let's step back and give image. So we have certain options which I can show you. This is an image which to use for an example as a background image in application. So let's just, this is image1.jpg, already part of our main folder. So we just have to give the name of image1.jpg. Give the left side pane how we want to, what do we need to give in the left side pane to get the CSV uploaded over. This is where we would be starting with the left side. If so, I'm saying left pane. This, we know the sections exactly where which one is starting. So I'm going to say uploaded file sidebar file, and this is the text which will file here for personal bot. So this is the file from which it would be fetching the information and display us when we are asking bot to give the info. And if uploaded file say with temp file, want it to be there, then I would also say dot write dot get value. This to say emp file name. Then would also give a loader to the file path to the path. This, so let me give the path the n to f8. Then I would also say C args that this is the delimiter. My delimiter in this case is, which is a standard delimiter, loader dot load. So this is the end of our left side pane where we would displaying this option and we would be giving the CSV file to display. That's all. And from next section onwards, we can just start working on the tab to get the chatbot to create the chat. The tab start here. I'm going to give two sections. One, it can be generic questions, and the second section as personal chatbot. These are the two tabs which will be displayed. Dot tabs. One is generic questions, and the second one is going to be personal chatbot. So these two will be displayed over there. And let's start with the first tab description. So this is our tab 1 description or section, right? So let's start with the tab 1. I would say with generic question. So this is the one which we would have to take it in the script. I would say with generic questions. Say st dot header. So what we have to display in each of these sections, ask any generic questions, which is self-explanatory. I would create a function. So this text, I would say messages, then give or print actually, print area for that particular section. Say m print, which we will append later, or session it, which it will maintain throughout. Get this, and here we are giving from the second line, which I'll explain why we have line, why not first one. Text and let's give this value equal to thing. How do we join those things? So one line and join everything, all the messages. So we would message, and I just have to specify the height of the section, which would be 300, 200, 400, and obviously this is expensive. One mistake here, so since the external ones are double quotes, so internal one, it can be single quote. So there was no equal to. This is the function which we are, and I would say prompt. There are two roles basically which we need to pass it to the function. So we have one role which is called as system, and there is another role which is like content. So one would ask questions and the other one would display the answer. So I would say if messages not in the session state, dot session state are messages. So if it is not there already, so it would be prompting. So this is end of it, and then we would just say what is the text we need over there. So I would say it starts with an empty text. So that's why we are just saying we need to call the function show messages, say messages. Then we have to again add the buttons over there, send, and if you do not want anything, you just clear that. So we add a couple of buttons in this application. So this is our major function where we are taking care of the two different roles and messages, appending them and all those things. And here we have to start with the buttons in bracket text, and I would say st dot button is send. Then what should I do if that is send? Then it with st dot winner, there is a kind of function, and I want to display hang on while generate, or so this is what it would display while waiting for the response from the services. I would also say st dot session it is, I would say plus it would automatically keep appending. So the goal is the and content prompt. So that prompt we'll have to provide. Then I'm just giving the response equal to OpenAI. So this is exactly where we are calling the API at completion. There are a lot of different types of requests in OpenAI. So you have chat completion, you have question one. You're using the chat completion option over there. I would say there are options of which model also do you want to use from OpenAI. So you have GPT 3.5 Turbo, you have 4, and the credit points will varying for each of those. So I'm using 3.5 Turbo. The messages, the dot session date, getting my messages. Then let me close this one and come out, and I would say page dot response, sorry, message underscore response is response. And I would say choices. What choice do I need? If there are multiple options coming out, then we need the first one, and that's choices. Let me get the first one, and then I need the messages content. So when you see the API response, there will be a lot of different key value pairs, and we are just getting. I would also say st.session state, have the message over there. Keep appending the messages. And give where we need to specify the role, and so role and content. Then we have the content. Then content would be our message. So this would be the end of it. So give messages. We should display the text. There is no brand. So then again we have to specify dot button. If you want to reuse the same and give a new question, we need the clear over there. So you can clear the complete window in that. This particular button will job of clearing the text area. Saying dot clear dot session state this and clear that. Prompt this has to be fine. So this text print messages. Then we have one more tab description where we will get second tab description where we have okay. We can say with personal chatbot. So these are the two options which we had created. One is personal chatbot, one is with personal chatbot. What should be our header? Okay. st.header. I ask questions to personal chatbot. And then I would say if uploaded file, if there is an uploaded file with temp file dot named temp file, delete equal to false. I'm not going to delete there. Temp file. So this is the same as the upper one. So I think we can copy and paste the same thing. So in the beginning, when we upload the file, this would be displayed, and just to continue with the same, we are just writing this again. So it makes sure that if the file is already uploaded, then only we have the personal chatbot option. If this is not there, then we will not have personal chatbot option at all. Same one. Chat OpenAI, and there are certain parameters like temperature. I've worked with any LLM, so which tune that. So I'm just giving 5 turbo. So we are using the same. Also, sidebar vector. So this is the same vectors dot as written. And now I would be specifying the function for this. We would say result in, and in this we would give the question, and which would be our query, which will be passing this particular function. Would be our dots state. This is the history for us. It would be just taking the history of bracket here. These are the both key value pairs which we provide to maintain the history. Then we would also say s dot set state, which is the history for us. We are taking the keyword. We would append the query and the result provide. We just have to maintain that particular state. Every time it gets appended, and when we keep typing in the bottom, the answer gets appended to the history. So this is to maintain that history, and we are just keeping that as the session state in the history. So we have to also handle how the file would, how the statement would look like. So user should know where what to ask from the same. So I'm just going to give 3 different options. So I would say if we not in session state, then t dot session state would be empty. There would not be anything. This is my open, it's just open list. And then let's also talk about past. What happens if it is in the past history already? If not, it would not display anything. It would just say hi. I mean, if there is no history at all in the past, it would consider as a new conversation, and it would say hi. So I would say not in state, yes, dot state past would be just a hi. That's all. There would not be anything. Hi. If it is nothing is generated, then what would it ask? So I would also say generated not in st.session, right? Then what should it display if there is nothing generated? Then also say it would be just say the string I ask anything from uploaded, and the file name I'm just giving a space, and we would also just give the file name. Say for example our file name is personal.csv, it would say personal, so uploaded file dot name I'm giving -4, so it would remove the last 4 characters of the file name, which is .csv. We do not want to display, we just want to display the file name itself. So this is our how do we handle different scenario. Then we would define the container here, the main container where the chats will be displayed. So I would say I'm just giving as a response container where it would, where that container would be there, just cheating that, and say container. I would say container, in that container we have to write something to understand. I would say with container st dot write. What should we write in that? Please ask anything to your personal chatbot. It is kind of heading in that particular container. And I would say with st.form I say e equal to my form. Here when the submission happens, that would erase everything, so here on true, just giving this. Then what would be the user input and what submit button will take? So would say st.text underscore input would be query. What would be the query? I can say this would be a default value which would be displayed over there in that particular box. Placeholder, I would say ask questions from personal spreadsheet uploaded. So this is what I want to display for an example, and the key would be input. So if nothing is there, this is what it would be input. This is my st.text. Then we also have to give for submit button, say submit button, and submit, when someone clicks the submit button, it would be st.form underscore submit button, and label, we have to name that button, so label equal to I would send. So the moment you click on that, this would be a default placeholder, ask questions from personal spreadsheet uploaded. The moment you start typing, this vanishes, then you have a button and you can hit send. That's all. And then we would say if submit, what will happen if we hit submit? If submit button and user input, when both are there, when both are not empty, we would probably say we need to store this st.text in some parameter, which would be our user input. That's why we are getting an error here. So user input is this st.text. Now this input, and I would say what would be the output, and the function which we had defined would say conversational chat here, for example. So conversation, so I'm saying output equal to conversation, that is the function name. take that user input, is this one, st dot, this is the placeholder where user is entering. I'm storing that in a variable and I'm passing in the user dot input. Then we have to maintain that in the session state, that this is my generated dot append output. Whatever output is generated by the conversation, I'm storing it in the st.session state. And we have two, one is our past and one is our generated. So I'm also adding st.session state. What is my past? I'm appending whatever user input had given. So it would be in a proper conversation. So whatever is generated now, that is our output given by the model. The past, the last conversation would be the user input. So it would look like proper question and answer kind of structure. It would. That's all. And we are good with handling different cases, the user and input. Have to keep appending and provide some kind of emojis so that we know this is the user and this is the response from the LLM model. So that's what is left now. I would say go back one step and say if st.session state is generated with response contain for I range length t.session state. We are just iterating over how many generated ones. In message, what would it show? I'm saying st.session state. In the past, the is iterating on I from the range of, okay, so the length. So I'm just iterating over the generated messages. So I'm saying past I. If that is user, who, then we need to assign some emoji to that. Equal to I append this. And what would be my emojis look like? So I would show you a page where there are a lot of emojis mentioned. So this was not available directly in the Streamlit documentation. So if you see this dicebar.com style, so you have all these emojis which we can use basically. So I have used a couple of them from the same. So the name, exactly if we enter the name, it would take that as an emoji. I'm going to take avatar style is, for an example, there is something called as big ears neutral. We also have to generate an avatar for the generated text. So st session state, okay, rated it on that. If key is generated, then we also have to give some avatar. So I'm just giving some fun emoji. So this is the complete code basically. So this is it, and let's run this particular. So there are no errors. So just to start running this, I would say Streamlit run, and this is our chat engine. .py. So let's run this. We have our chatbot here, exactly how we have given the information. So we are just saying upload file here for personal chatbot. We have two sections, one is generic and one is personal chatbot. So personal chatbot will only be enabled when we upload a personal CSV file. So let's see what is there in the personal CSV which we are going to provide. This is the personal CSV file which we are going to provide. So this has nothing but a lot of links which I have curated over a period of time, uh, like a lot of libraries, courses, any good articles, blogs, all of that. So this is available, all of them, they are available on the public forum. So we are going to give this particular data chart input and the chat file, and we can ask certain questions. So let's upload a particular file and see. So I'm going to browse files. So this is uploaded now. It is a very small file. This is, so probably let's ask any specific question. So something like, for an example, please give me some documentation on PyTorch. Give me some documentation on PyTorch. Say for an example, this is the one which we are providing, and this is very generic question. It might not be there. It has nothing to do with our file. So let's give this particular prompt. So this is what we had. Hang on while we generate for you. And this section is perfectly collapsible. You have an option to collapse this. The moment, okay, so now I think we have got the information. So this section is, we have an option to expand this particular section. So I'm going to go to the same earlier what we had given, some 300 height we begin by default. So it is giving us a lot of information: PyTorch website, PyTorch documentation, PyTorch tutorials, PyTorch examples. It is giving us a lot of these links from the from directly from the web, from where it has been trained on. This has nothing to do with our personal data. So now let's see, let's move on to the personal chatbot and ask a specific question. So these are the emojis. This is with big ears and this is with one emoji. We had given this one. So by default, these are the placeholders. So I'm saying ask anything from uploaded data chat. This is the file we had appended. So if you see here, just let's go back to the code again. So if you go back here, so this is where we had asked, hi, ask anything from the uploaded. Removed the file's name is data chat input, and CSV, it's the extension is missing because we removed that. And there is another hi we just gave for the user. So this is where we had mentioned. And we can ask anything from the personal chatbot. So let's say, where can I get annotated papers? So this is the question I'm giving, and let's do a send. So it is giving, it is GitHub, this particular link it is giving. So let's see if this link is present in our CSV which we have uploaded or not, just to ascertain, okay, if that is the questions are asked, or is it referring to our file at all or not. So if you just search here, I'm going to search annotated, and it is giving the exact link which it has shown. So look at this one. So it is the same link, particular line, same GitHub annotated LaTeX equations, same link it is showing in that particular chatbot, personal chatbot. Thanks a lot for watching.